Welcome to Off the Couch with Dr. Greg. This is Dr. Greg Cason, where psychology meets everyday life. I guess it meets everyday life with me, too. I'm Dr. Greg Cason, psychologist. You are Brian Gomez, producer. And on the board is Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Hello, hello.
So good to see you here. We have a special episode, Jamie, today. We have a special episode. We gathered together listener questions. People that had questions. We broke them down into different categories. We're going to try to hit several. One is personal issues of listeners. I wish we had a call-in show. One day we will. That's a goal for the year, I have to say. But we are going, because I love answering live questions. I do it in therapy every day, all day long. So why not do it here too? Also, we have people ask specific questions for Brian and myself. I guess we clean them up a little bit. I have the questions for Brian, but Brian has the questions for me. Is that right, my man?
Yes. Do you want to go first?
Oh,
or do you want me to go first?
We'll put me on the spot first. I'm actually a little bit nervous. I have to say I'm nervous because we're going to first start with personal, like people's like actual questions. So I don't think they're personal. They're cleaned up. So there's no identifying information. But these are things that will be very curious.
Okay, so we're going to start off with ones that talk about relationships. The first one says, I'm feeling disconnected from my partner. How can I rebuild intimacy and communication?
Oh, my goodness.
These are great because, I mean, this happens to everybody. Like, I'm always even scared, like, if I get married and, like, 20 years down the line, like, what if things just aren't the same? And, like, I don't know. That's a big fear of mine.
Well, let me guarantee you that things wouldn't be the same. In 20 years, things always change. Relationships change. The key is whether to change with your partner or away from your partner. So in this case, with this person, they wanted to bring back intimacy and what else?
Communication. They feel disconnected from their partner.
Yeah, they've started to change away from their partner. One thing I do with clients, and that's not a quickie solution, but one thing I can say is, what was it that attracted to you to your partner in the first place? When you first met your partner, what did you first love about him or her? What was it? What was it that attracted you? And I would even make that list, because probably now you're not seeing your partner through the same lens that you saw your partner back then. And one thing I can say is you're different too. So if back then you were showing up all cleaned up with a date, holding flowers in your hand, planning a wonderful evening at a restaurant, etc. My guess that isn't a typical evening around your household now. So one thing we can do to start to put spark back in our relationship is to start recalling the person that we were back then, rather than demanding our partner be the person that they were back then, and to start acting accordingly. If we act more like that old person, like two planets in rotation, we start to pull them into the orbit with us. So they start to change in the direction that we're going as well. So if we want to pull someone in that direction, we have to start to apply the very things that we know best, which is what worked in the first place.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
I mean, it's just really well put, that I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Well, thank you.
Another one that is about relationships is, can a relationship recover after infidelity, and where do I start? Because that's a huge one.
That's a mixed bag. Yes. I mean, the absolute answer is yes, it can. Yes, it can. Are both people willing to have it recover? That's the bigger question. If both people are willing to do that work, then yes, it absolutely can. So what's the question? I'm sorry.
Can a relationship recover afterwards?
Yeah. No, it can. One thing I do say, there's a whole approach. One thing when somebody is having an affair outside of their relationship. It usually violates the agreement of the relationship. And the person who was not involved in the affair, the person at home, often feels betrayed, and they lose their sense of trust for their partner. So it's going to take them a long time to, one, work through the anger, to be able to understand and begin to forgive, but they may not gain the trust back for an even longer time. And what I always say to people who've been cheated upon, who are suffering from this, they can forgive, which means they can let go of the intense anger and emotion, but they can't forget. They will never forget. So don't even entertain that option. You will never forget that this happened. And it permanently changes the relationship because you always know it could happen again. But you also know that you're choosing to be with this partner understanding this happened. For the partner who did the cheating, they have to make amends. And that may be doing many things, including completely changing their life to get back on track with the person. Often I'll advise that they are radically honest with their partner, to be completely open. You can look at my phone, you can look at my email, you can do all kinds of things, and that they have to live their life in service of helping to repair the relationship. So getting back on track is going to take a long time. One thing I've worked with in couples who've had this, often the person who will committed the infidelity will get back on track and not understand why their partner has not let go of the anger. And I'll be like, it's going to take them a while.
And that person has to be willing to wait and like a while, right?
Yes.
Because, like, I mean, like you said, I feel like they both have to want that recovery.
You both have to want the recovery. But if you wound someone physically, you could stab them with a knife and pull the knife out, and then they're like, ow, ow, ow. And you're like, I pulled the knife out. Why are you still crying in pain?
Yeah.
And the wound is still healing. And they're like, 3 weeks later, it's still healing. And they're like, ow, ow. Well, it was 3 weeks ago. And that's literally how some people think.
And it won't heal if you're not taking care of it either.
You have to take care of it. And then the person who's the wounded it's going to take a while to heal. And it's going to take the other person's understanding and care to help them heal as well.
Dang. I mean, you explained that very well. So I'm like happy that was a question that came up. Another one from relationships is, how do I set healthy boundaries with a toxic family member without cutting them off completely? Because I'm the one, I resonate with this because I will cut anybody and everybody off without
Duly noted, bro.
I know. I don't know. I like it about me. I just don't want to deal with like drama or anything that's going to make me upset like that.
I'm exactly the opposite. I have done that before. I did do that with a family member that I didn't talk to for 17 years. But it took me that long to heal. It took me a long time. And finally I did go back, and it was slow. But it was something I had to do. So I do understand this. Look, setting boundaries, especially right now, especially with the effects of the election and the holidays, I think we're seeing lots of people say, look, I love you, but I just can't have you at my Thanksgiving table. Or I love you, but I just can't talk to you right now. Or even that I don't want to be your friend anymore. I think we're seeing a lot of this after the election. And people are acting shocked. And I don't think it's something to be shocked about, but I do think we can't clutch our pearls. We have to say, okay, this is reality. They have different values than I do. And it's okay if I need to protect myself right now.
And I think we're all adults. If we're like over 18 and 21, we have that choice if we want to have those people in our lives too. I mean, as a kid, I couldn't wait to grow up just to be able to cut people off. I am serious. I know it sounds crazy.
Premeditated.
Literally, I was just like, I don't ever want this in my life as an adult. I know as kids, sometimes we have to put up with it because it's either in our household or family members that are around or anything. But I just could not wait to become an adult to be like, I will never be in the same room with you.
Wow.
And that's just my thing.
But if that's
like,
your choice, that's your choice.
My choice.
I honestly don't believe that you have to be friends or connected to everybody in your life just because they're related to you by blood. Mm-hmm. If they treat you poorly, then they treat you poorly. I think I have a bigger forgiveness muscle than I think a lot of people, but I think also I can understand that is not always a good thing. Sometimes that can be a problem as well. Yeah. I've seen the effects of that, the negative side of that. How about you, Jamie? Are you a cutter-offer or a forgiver in chief? What do you think?
Unfortunately, I do tend to be a forgiver. Mostly, just I don't always love the conflict. I feel like if there's good reason, then I will conflict, or I'll go up to someone and be like, "Listen, you got to chill out." But I always try to. I feel like I don't know. I think I'm too much of a people pleaser that I get worried about cutting people off permanently. But
yeah, I get it. I hear you. I'm a bit of a pleaser myself who somehow still doesn't enjoy conflict but allows for it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Is that a thing?
I guess so. Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm sure a lot of people are like that too.
I don't like to have a conflict. I don't. So I will try to work through it so that it doesn't occur. But indeed, if conflict happens, then I'm not great at it either. Because you know how some people are just quick with the verbal barbs? Like my mind goes blank. I'm like, you terrible person.
It takes you a minute to come up with that.
So I'm not as good.
I get it. There's another question that really jumped out. Yeah. It's about mental health. How do I know if my anxiety or depression is serious enough to seek professional help? And that's a big one because sometimes I feel like it doesn't. You won't know until you hit a big situation that you can't handle it anymore.
First of all, when you know, you know. I mean, there are the people that if there's anyone who thinks I need to go see somebody, then they are appropriate. Because they've already crossed that line. Mm. But the definition that we use in mental health, we could go down the symptoms, but there's sort of a quick and dirty, which is if a symptom like depression or anxiety is interfering with your work, school, personal life. So if it's interfering, like you're unable to get off the couch, or you're having relationship problems, or you're not functioning well at work or school because of depression or anxiety, then indeed that's a good time to go see a mental health provider. And when in doubt, you can call up a mental health provider and kind of say, this is what's going on. And they can say, okay, yeah, you'd be appropriate to come in or not. Now, different things cause depression and anxiety. I hope I'm not going too deep into this, but it could be caused by an adjustment in life. That's adjustment disorders. It could be the adjustment disorders like a change in life, like getting married or graduating college or moving or divorce or someone dying. I mean, these things can cause these major adjustments that could amplify and get worse. So when I say someone dying, it could be that's different than just grief. It means that let's say someone dies and you lose your finances, or something bad happens. So it's not just grieving the loss of the person, but that your life suddenly changed in a dramatic way that you have to then deal with. You start dealing with things, and adjustment disorders have behavioral, anxiety, depressive outcomes, emotional or behavioral outcomes. So anyway, those are kind of big ones, and they're very common. But depression can also be chronic, long-term. We have an old term called dysthymia. I still like it. We call it persistent depressive disorder now. Not as sexy. And then we have major depressive disorder. That's when things get really bad, and on the advance of major depressive disorder, people can start feeling like harming or hurting themselves. But well before that happens, a cue to let them know is they start to feel tired of living. And when you feel tired of living, that could be a sign that indeed you're starting to progress. So,
I mean, for me, I felt like whenever I was first looking for a therapist during the pandemic. I feel
Yeah.
like we were all going through a lot.
A lot.
I was going through a lot. And I still didn't find the right one that I wanted to go to. So it's okay to shop around, I would say.
Oh.
But I'm usually pretty good at handling and regulating myself and everything like that. But I realized when I felt like I was cracking, like mentally cracking, and I couldn't do it myself, that's whenever I was like, oh, I definitely need help, you know?
Wow.
And it wasn't like I felt like I was, you know, not wanting to live or anything, but it was just like I felt like my brain felt like it was cracking like an egg, you know?
Cracking like an egg.
Yeah.
Wow, I get it.
So that's for me how I
Yeah,
ended
no.
up. That's when I knew I was like, I don't have all the tools myself at this point right now, that I needed to have somebody help me on that.
And, you know, just to let you know, and I hear this from people, by the way, I'm on the other side of this, so people will say, oh, either you've already heard this before, you're probably so bored, my problems aren't important, or how can you sit around all day and listen to people's problems? I mean, all these different things. I want you to know that therapists, literally you're coming in with your problems. You will have your problems before you see a therapist. And if you don't see a therapist, nothing's going to happen. The only thing a therapist can offer is help. They can help you. And it's sort of nice to be in that position to be able to help people. Sometimes we are not as effective as we wish we were. Sometimes we really try hard and we don't get the result we want. But oftentimes we do. And so it's nice to be on the side of, you know, somebody comes in with an issue and we can make help them make progress. So, yeah. So, and you know, so it's, you laid out the perfect example of, you know, when you know.
Yeah,
It's
you feel
important
it.
going-
You feel it to
Yeah.
where it's like, I feel like a lot of people have that same mentality where it's like, oh, I don't need help. I don't need somebody else to talk to or like complain to, or I don't want to burden somebody with my own issues or
Right.
problems. But it gets to a point where you yourself cannot handle it anymore.
No.
You know, which sucks, you know, but it's reality. And luckily there's people out there that can help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have benefited
Even if
from
it's
them
just
too.
like them listening to you vent about what's happening in your life, it is
Even if
such
it's that.
a relief.
No, even
you
if
know?
it's that. Even if you're just allowing them to be a container for your BS at the moment. That's okay too.
Yeah. So blessed. If you need it, please get it. There's another one that says, I've been struggling with burnout. How do I recover and avoid it in the future?
That's
Because I feel
hitting
like
a
lot.
little too close to home.
Yeah.
Little too close to home. What was it? Question? Burnout? I just heard burnout.
It got you. Trauma. I've been struggling with burnout. How do I recover and avoid it in the future?
Okay, here's burnout. So I've been having to practice this. So burnout is generally from there's several reasons, but usually overwork. Usually, and we're doing too much of something to the point that we start to reach a wall. It's burnout. I often call burnout work depression. It's like you're getting depressed about work. And so like depression, you start to lose energy. You start to not want to get up and do things. You start to have more fatalistic views. You feel helpless, like you can't change your situation. You feel hopeless. And you feel worthless, like, oh, I just don't even have anything to offer. So burnout can be a very significant thing that can happen. One thing I know that I always try to stay off the burnout, or I'm on that treadmill and I'm trying to keep from falling off, or however you want to use that image, is always try to take lots of breaks. Plan vacations. I'm a big believer in planning a vacation or planning a couple or 2 or 3 vacations out in advance so that you're always looking forward to something. And a lot of times when I'm feeling closer to burnout, I think about, oh, I've got, this thing coming up. I'm taking a week off between Christmas and New Year. The very first time I've ever taken time off between the holidays. And I'm just keep thinking about, I'm going to be at home the whole week. I know it sounds goony, but I'm like, I'm going to clean this and I'm going to do that. Let's see what I'm able to accomplish. But I'm just really looking forward to that time. Really looking forward to that time. Or it could be in February, I'm going to visit a friend of mine who moved to Montana. So I'm going to go visit her. She retired and moved to Montana. She's only 61, but, good for her. And so I'm going to go visit her. So, yeah, that's the kind of thing. I'm looking forward to those things.
So keep looking forward to things.
Look forward to things. Try to reassess your life. And I'm actually having to look at my work-life balance, something we can learn from the younger generation, because my generation's more like a work-work balance. That's how we were brought up. That's how we always did it.
It's funny you bring that up, because there's another one about a workplace where it's, I hate my job, but I can't afford to leave. How do I find balance and cope?
Okay, you're never stuck at your job. And so if somebody says to themselves, I'm stuck at my job, they're putting themselves in a helpless position. So you always have the ability to quit. You're choosing not to quit because you don't want to give up the income. So that's the powerful choice you need to make, even though you're going to be working at a job that you don't like. And a lot of people do recommend, I like this recommendation, is to fire yourself and then rehire yourself. To fire yourself from that sticky, like I'm stuck in this job, and to rehire yourself as you're making a strong choice to be there and what am I going to do, and to try to look at the job from a new light, to be able to engage and do different things. Sometimes, though, there are toxic people at the job. I certainly had a job like this once. I'll never forget this. It was very hard for me to be there, and it was just the culture of the organization. And I really had to work to deal with those situations. And when it came time to leave, when I was able to leave and it came time to leave, I left. And so, that happened because I had something else on the horizon, not because I felt stuck.
And I feel like a lot of people do feel stuck in life with just their jobs. I feel like people are just there because they need the money and they don't necessarily enjoy what they're doing.
But another thing just to say is to always know why you're doing it, because sometimes we have what's called vocations and avocations. And a vocation is what you do for money, and avocation may be a hobby or something like that. And that if you don't like what you do at work, you want to develop an avocation or something that you look forward to after work. And the other thing is, why do you work? Are you working to pay for that avocation? Or are you working to pay for your family, to put food on the table? Are you working for a longer term goal because you're in school? There are many reasons people work and stay in jobs that they don't like. And having those goals in mind will help them get through tough times.
That makes sense. And I remember I hated one job that I would be on the job, literally looking for jobs, applying to jobs while I was there. Yeah. So if that's your thing, maybe that's what you can do.
Well, because it's better than looking at porn at work. Okay, we're really getting pressed. I've got some questions for you, Brian.
Okay.
How about that? So, Brian. Could you share your journey from serving in the U.S. Army to becoming a producer, co-host on Off the Couch with Dr. Greg? How did you get from there to here?
Oh, God. This one's, it's hard to explain to people all the things I've done work-wise and career-wise along my life, because I don't have like this one specific just subject or anything I love, because I wish I did. When I was growing up, I always beat myself up for it, that I didn't have that one passion I could pour all myself into it and like excel and like make something out of it. Because you see people do it and you're like, oh damn, I felt lost. I felt like, oh, there's too much going on and too diverse that I can't go into one field. After the military, I did school for fashion marketing. I've done the paralegal program and worked at a law firm. So it's just all different stuff.
Which one did you like best?
Honestly,
Off the Couch with Doc Greg?
Working with you has been really amazing, from when I first started assisting you and just everything I've learned along the way. You really opened my mind up to like mental health in general. Like it wasn't something I grew up with. It wasn't something we talked about. I even look back at like being home and I felt sad of like certain things that we just said, oh, you're crazy or something, but it was clearly something deeper, you know? So I've been really appreciative about that. And like, you've even put me onto like a book that I fell in love with, the Healing Spaces book, that I want to end up doing like a nonprofit for it and work a whole nother for-profit company. It's just, yeah, it's so much that you can learn and like excel from just learning about mental health. I feel like the more you know about mental health, the more you can help yourself, you know, and helping
Agreed.
yourself will help you get to where you want to go in life.
Agreed.
Yeah. So it's just been a really nice journey, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very
Thank you.
appreciative of it.
Wow.
So,
But
yeah.
thank you. I didn't expect that. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't really say that often, but it's been really cool just to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Was there a memorable moment or episode that had a significant impact on you?
I feel like every time we have a guest,
Oh my God, we've had some good ones.
we had some good ones, and there's always something that I walk
Great
away
ones.
with, just like, wow, I'm so happy I heard that or learned that, you know,
Yeah.
from like Monique, which just the way her thinking works. I mean, Dee Wallace too, just
Oh, Dee.
everything. Allison was just so amazing. Like, it's these iconic people that we have
Lane
in front of
brothers.
us. The Lane brothers. Oh my God,
Yeah,
yes.
they're
I could go
incredible.
on and on. That David, like everybody I've had something I can take away from, which has been so cool.
Oh, David Chokichi was really incredible from
Yeah.
Baywatch. And then also even the financial show, Michelle.
Michelle, I mean, she taught me so much.
We gotta
And
get
I'm
her
like, we need to
back
bring
on.
her back because we
We got to
need
get all of them back.
all of them
on.
back,
I know
yeah.
we want to have David back on, and we have some other
everyone. Yeah,
surprises
they've been
planned for the
so
future.
good.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's having the guests, because I learned from you, but I also learned from them too. Their experiences, their traumas, how they've overcome them. I love hearing people succeed through crappy stuff in their life. I think
And
that's amazing.
Almost every person to a person, that's been their story, that they had some issue, some difficulty, and they were able to overcome it.
Well, and that's how you grow. I
That
feel
is
like
how
that's how
you
you
grow.
grow in life. You know, it sucks, and nobody wishes or wants these difficulties
No.
to come into our life or be brought up in these bad situations. But like Dee Wallace said, it's what you do with your story. You know.
Oh yes, see,
So see, I'm
that
telling.
that resonated with
Yeah.
you. Good.
Yeah.
That was a good statement. How about for you, Jamie? Is there, you know, you're in school and you're leaving us. I didn't know this until just today.
Yeah, I'm leaving pretty soon.
And where you go? What's the school you're going to?
I go to Ithaca College.
Oh,
in
Ithaca.
Ithaca, New York.
Yeah,
so I'm going back to
beautiful.
the East Coast.
It's gonna be cold there.
Yes, they have
Nice.
lots of snow both there, and I'm from Connecticut, so
Oh,
lots of
it's-
snow.
You're used to it.
Yes,
But
I like
it's
snow.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be great. But hopefully you'll be back to join us again very soon.
I hope so.
in the spring.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're gonna manifest that.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. It's been a joy working with you guys.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been a joy with you, too. Thank you. That's very sweet of you to say that. Wow. What do you think, Brian? I think that sort of wraps it up for today. Did we
well,
think?
we have to do a lot more of these questions though, because they were really cool, and I love that we talked about mental health and
I got
relationships.
super nervous.
No,
Honestly, I did.
and I think these are really helpful to talk to with people listening. You know, it's situations everybody has either dealt with or are in. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. So, Jamie, Brian, I hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas holiday. Are you celebrating Christmas? Are you?
Yes.
Oh, well, it's also Hanukkah, so you know it's a double whammy this year.
That's
and
true.
Kwanzaa. I
They
mean,
overlap.
man, you got all of it covered in 1 week. This is the week. So I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season. That wraps up the show for today. I'm going to enunciate. Reminder to like, subscribe, give us 5 stars if you can. Links to the studies, go to youtube.com/Dr. Greg. I guess we're not doing studies today. Why did I write that? Maybe we can put questions. I don't know. We can put the questions in there. Also, if you have questions or topics you want to hit us up, like we'll use them. We still have more. We didn't use a lot more. And this is Dr. Greg, Brian, and Jamie bidding you farewell. Until next time, be present, be flexible, and be kind.